Hey everyone, this is AestheticGamer, and this is BlackSoul Extended Edition, version 1.0. Now, I've heard there's some buggy things about this game, and some people warned me this game is absolutely terrible. But to be honest, I'm going to give it a fair shot. I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm going to come up with my own opinion on the game and play it right now. Though some people have said it's terrible, I've also heard from others that the game is very underrated. It was made by two people over a span of about a year or two, and it was recently released with an extended edition. This game is stylized like old survival horror games. One thing which I can say right now is the animations in this game are very wonky. But I'm one of those people that can accept wonky animations if I actually have things in the game which I myself appreciate. As such, we're going to be playing this. It's right now late at night. It's dark. It's not stormy like the game, but whatever. I'll let the opening play. Are we ready for some of that low-budget world of survival horror? Now, again, three things before we get started while I go to the options menu. Firstly, I'm going to keep in mind this is an incredibly low-budget project. It was made by two brothers. They obviously didn't have much of a budget, so I'm expecting some shoddiness with all this. I'll have to see, though, if elements of the game can shine over that shoddiness, or if it's just going to be a shoddy hell for me. The second thing which I'm going to know about this is that I will give some credit to the developers a little bit here. The game has been, according to people who played it originally when it came out, worked on a lot since it originally came out. It still has a lot of things to fix, developers on the Steam forums at least say that they're working to fix out some issues, as well as some of the stuff they're working on is to make some of the textures in the game higher res and to fix up and make the animations look nicer, which is really, from what I've seen in the game, very needed. But I'll give it some slack on the count that apparently they haven't updated the game quite frequently since it came out last year. And now the extended cut. The extended cut changes a few things, but the thing that mainly changes is that now there is 2 camera modes that you can play the game in. And I'm going to have to ask you guys this one right now, though I think I have an idea which I will already choose. They have 2 different camera modes in the extended cut version of this game. There's tracking camera mode, which is the camera mode the original game has. That one is stylized like an old Resident Evil game. Essentially, imagine tracking camera as being like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, where there's fixed camera angles, the camera angle pulled out, but following the character like Silent Hill sometimes. But think of it like a classic survival horror type camera. But then in the extended cut, they've also added a new camera mode called Cinematographic. Or no, tracking is what I have this backwards. Cinematographic is what I'm talking about. Tracking, however, is like Resident Evil 4, where the camera is behind the shoulder of the main character. As you explore the environments, you will see from behind the shoulder angle. This will probably make combat easier, but it also, of course, will do some of the cinematic appeal of the game, or old school survival horror appeal. But then again, it might work out well. So, I'm going to just throw a poll out you guys. Fixed angles or behind the shoulder style? And here comes the poll question for the people. Let's see what the people here on the stream at this moment want. Fixed angles or behind the shoulder style? Oh, it's actually more cut down than I thought it would be. But then cinematographic, I like those sort of cinematic angles as well. I think they can add a lot to the atmosphere. It really depends on what you think. On one hand, the game was designed with fixed angles in mind, and the behind-the-shoulder camera was only added recently to the game. I'm going to be the devil's advocate on both sides here. Let's see. Good night, Belum. Clunky game. Really? I think the opposite. I guess I think that behind the shoulder camera plus. I'm also thinking about personal opinion here. Behind the shoulder is currently ahead in the votes, but this game isn't a third-person shooter, though. It's one of those games where you have really limited supplies, and you're supposed to run from more enemies than fight them. And this is, I'm so cut here, because I like both types of camera styles, to be honest. They're 2 of my favorite types of camera styles when it comes to horror games, but I haven't played this game, so I have no idea which one would be better for this particular game. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit tricky here. On one hand, the camera angles aren't really good in this game. Not camera angles, I mean the animations aren't very good in this game, so maybe being behind the shoulder will bring more attention to the terrible animations. This is what I'm more concerned about the most. But then, on the other hand, that would make combat easier. I'm not sure how hard or easy the combat in this game is supposed to be, or how much of a focus it really has in this title. On the other hand, though, behind the shoulder means that we can also explore the environments as we wish. We can look around and explore freely to our own leisure. However, though, the game was designed for us with fixed camera angles, and being an old survival horror game that might add to some of the atmosphere, scares, and fear of the title. But it also might make some design things a little bit more cumbersome, if, for instance, we can't see enemies off screen or something. This is a tricky one. Which is why this one's going to be a hard one for me to make a call. I'm hoping we can maybe switch in the middle of the game if we end up not liking the choice that we chose, but still though. I think for now I'm going to play with the fixed camera style, but if it turns out we don't like it, we can switch back to the other original one. Simply because the game was kind of designed with the fixed camera style originally in the first place. So I think that might be best for the game. I disagree. I love fixed camera style angles. But it's okay to have personal preference. I understand that. Okay, save changes. It really depends on personal preference, and it's nice that the game has an option. If it turns out I don't like the fixed camera styles in this game, though, I will switch over to behind the back, because it's on the options menu. I can probably change it at any time. Alright, new game. Oh dear. I almost forgot that there was going to be difficulty options for this game. Well, we have easy, normal, survival, and BlackSoul. I have no idea how hard this game is supposed to be. I'll be honest. I guess I'm going to risk survival and see where we go from that. Someone is saying being restrained by a camera? Yes, that's a classic staple of survival horror games since 1996. I've played a ton of games with fixed camera angles, and sometimes they're a bit restrained, but other times they can actually be very helpful. They make some things easier, some things harder. I was thinking that a lot to the atmosphere. Resident Evil 1, Kuon, Fatal Frame has some of them, but not very often. Silent Hill occasionally have fixed angles to look at specific things, but not for most of the game. I played a lot of games with fixed camera angles, but yeah. Now people are debating about camera angle styles, but honestly, it all comes down to personal preference. There's not a better option. It all comes down to preference. There is no right or wrong, basically. Let's go with survival. If it turns out to be so hard, we'll go straight into this. Let's go. You guys see the newspaper that said some women do their nails with a hammer? Okay. Already, we're into the game. It moves about how I expect it to. You can already see the funkiness of our character's animation. Da 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 da. Can I do the... Yep, I can do the Resident Evil thing. Make them walk all weirdly. Now, do I use the mouse for anything? I actually should have looked at my controls a little bit before messing with this. Now, well, let's take a look around and figure out what the interaction button is. Jesus, I need to fix that font issue which I've been having. I really can't read the text. There is a letter on my desk. I should read it. I mean, I should have guessed from the title screen that I'd be running some issue with it. At least I now know that's the interaction option. That's what was... I need to look into this probably before we get too deep into this. Pause for a second. Also to confirm, we can change the camera at any time, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's see what it looks like just to see. For the fun times. So, yeah, if we don't like the camera style, we can change it whenever inside the game. Back, save changes, the way to turn VSync. Oh, this is also where we save our game, apparently. Alright. Before we get really deep into this, I could read it, but I'd rather fix up the font here. Why is the font so fucking small?